Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Cotner and I'm a construction manager and professional engineer with Hill International Incorporated. Welcome to my presentation of the Department of Homeland Security Airport Security Commissioning Terminal Optimization Project at the Tucson Airport Authority. Now a little bit about myself. I am a registered mechanical engineer and certified BD+C commissioning agent with over 30 years of industry experience. For the Terminal Optimization Project in Tucson, Arizona, I was the inspector and commissioning agent of record. The CM at Rest project involved the expansion and relocation of 2 secured checkpoints for TSA and complete replacement of the airport's electrical infrastructure without impacting airport operations. Over the course of this 6-part series, we will cover the following Department of Homeland Security issues when developing and implementing a commissioning plan. In Part 1, we will cover a general project overview of the Department of Homeland Security commissioning process. For Part 2, we will look at developing a commissioning plan for the Department of Homeland Security Logistics and Airport Administration. For Part 3, we will discuss implementing a commissioning plan for the Department of Homeland Security local facility operations. In Part 4, we will review communication strategies for the Department of Homeland Security and airport stakeholders. In Part 5, we will cover fire, life safety, and COVID-19 risk management strategies for the Department of Homeland Security and airport stakeholders. And in Part 6 will be a summary of the Department of Homeland Security Final Commissioning Performance Report. Specific topics to be discussed in Part 1 will include benefits of commissioning, project approach with Tucson Authority phasing, project approach with the Department of Homeland Security phasing, goals and objectives for Department of Homeland Security and the Airport Authority, and overcoming commissioning challenges. Because of the actions taken and the data recorded by Hill's commissioning agent at the recently completed Terminal Optimization Project, $1.8 million in unused contingency funding was returned to the Tucson Airport Authority. The systems commissioned were proven to meet or exceed the requirements of the installation, specifications, expected and required testing. In addition, acceptance by all project stakeholders was achieved as findings were validated to be in accordance with the manufacturing and commissioning guidelines. Did you know that commissioned facilities achieve an average savings of between 8 to 20% in reduced operational maintenance costs when compared with non-commissioned facilities? The project was broken down into 5 phases of construction, including east and west unsecured and secured passenger concourses and central plant. What does this mean exactly? Well, it means we approach a job and break it down by each section of the airport that we'll be working in and the unique situation each presents. For instance, landside concourses are in secured areas. Airside concourses and the central plant have higher security clearance requirements. Also, with each concourse, you have different combinations of airline and airport stakeholders. Each phase has its own set of needs and schedules to build around in the commissioning plan, which needs to take each concourse's situation into consideration. Specifically, we worked with the TSA logistics, the airlines, and the airport stakeholders to fulfill the TSA's requirements. Airports are busy, and there are limited windows of time in order to do installation work for the security checkpoints without interrupting the airport. This 10-step process, developed with the stakeholders, helps ensure that the work gets done without interruption to the airport. Step 1, commissioning kickoff meeting with the stakeholders, including Department of Homeland Security Logistics. Step 2, demolition of back of house without impacting operations. Step 3, construct and test infrastructure for new security checkpoints. Step 4, coordinate MEP and fire life safety switchovers for the new security checkpoints. Step 5, commissioning of infrastructure relevant to security checkpoints. Step 6, move planning, sequence, and final testing agenda signed off by the project stakeholders. Step 7, go, no-go meetings on night of each switchover schedule. Step 8, relocation of existing and new security equipment. Step 9, testing of existing and new security equipment. Step 10, checklist signed prior to Department of Homeland Security staging for operation. Prior to each MEP switchover, a go, no-go meeting was held with the appropriate maintenance management personnel from the airport, contractor, law enforcement, fire department, and airport operations, everyone involved, making sure that an airport runs smoothly. These meetings eliminate risks to the airlines. It ensures that there are zero interruptions to the airport operations and that all of our moves are coordinated ones, and that it is only possible when everyone is on the same page. Ensuring the commissioning went smoothly without interruption was important due to the various goals we had for the installation. These goals included commissioning of MEP and fire protection infrastructure, including interior finishes and lighting control, data communications, system expansion and equipment upgrades, airline vendors, passenger concessions upgrades, baggage handling and scanning in secured area upgrades, central plant boiler pumps and air handling unit replacement, emergency generator replacement for the response center, tie-in to the solar photovoltaic field, normal and emergency electrical distribution replacement, new air conditioning and UPS, vortex fire suppression systems for the MDF and IDF rooms, automated sunshade control system for the Department of Homeland Security checkpoint areas, energy management control systems for the Department of Homeland Security checkpoint areas. Each of these systems required and needs to be fully proven with functional testing. Ensuring this functionality is what makes the commissioning agent so essential. The goals for the Tucson terminal included relocation and expansion of 2 security checkpoints to accommodate social distancing, cleaning, health screening, detention, queuing, and recomposure areas for the traveling public. In addition, 2 new lanes were provided to speed up passenger traffic, equipped with new body scanners, walk-through scanners, substance sampling equipment, video surveillance, luggage scanners and monitors, holding rooms, and carts. As a result of Hill's commissioning planning, this allowed the Department of Homeland Security and its systems to be relocated during one overnight shift without interruption to the airlines, the airport, and the traveling public. The main objectives of the commissioning agent when developing the commissioning plan are maintaining health, safety, and security of the traveling public, employees, and security officers during construction, validation that Department of Homeland Security screening checkpoints and supporting systems were completed and have been installed according to the contract documents validated by project stakeholders, enhanced quality of startup and an orderly completion and transfer of Department of Homeland Security systems for beneficial use, sign-off of a pre-functional and functional testing, final acceptance of equipment and distribution identification, final acceptance of control trending report and graphical user interface, sign-off of IT cabling, HVAC and fire suppression, serving IDF and MDF rooms, sign-off of grounding, security, life safety, and access control systems, sign-off of acceptance of training demonstrations. Of course, there are challenges on every project. These challenges revolve primarily around getting our work done without interrupting the airport. Perhaps the biggest challenge in that regard is developing an approved utility outage plan prior to scheduling the work. Utility outages are necessary for the installation of electrical systems as it requires shutting off all main and backup power. This makes the airport susceptible to security breaches, unsafe operation, and hinders its functionality. Schedules must be thoroughly developed and coordinated to ensure that the work is done during these critical periods is executed safely and seamlessly without interruption to airport operations, airport security, airline operations, concessionaires, and airline vendors. Once the work is completed, the other major challenge is demonstrating that not only everything is functional, but there is a backup plan for when systems break down. Only when the commissioning agent shows that all systems are functional and recoverable will the stakeholders sign off on the work in time for staging of the affected state. So we know our biggest challenge coming into the project. Don't interfere with the way the airport functions, especially during periods when your work requires the power to be shut off. Weekly utility outage schedules like this shown here prevent these challenges from turning into work stoppage or interference with the airport's day-to-day functions. They outline everything that takes place during these critical periods to make them as brief as possible. It also outlines security measures to control who can access the worksite while security systems are without power. Schedules like this must have sign-offs by each stakeholder ahead of time, but they are crucial for avoiding issues on the worksite. Let's recap the general overview of the role and approach of the commissioning agent as well as goals and challenges of the project. First of all, benefits of commissioning. We realize 8 to 20% operation and maintenance savings versus non-commissioned facilities, specifically $1.8 million in return funds to Tucson Airport Authority from the project. Second, project approach to Tucson Airport Authority phasing, tailoring each phase of the process to the unique features of each terminal concourse, such as specific personnel on the stakeholder side as well as work schedules and logistics each terminal concourse presents. And thirdly, project approach for Department of Homeland Security phasing, building relationships with the Department of Homeland Security logistics and local TSA manager were key in successfully commissioning the project. Goals and objectives. Pre-move-out commissioning allowed the Department of Homeland Security and its systems to be relocated during one overnight shift without interruption to the airport. And finally, challenges. Multiple utility outages and switchovers were prepared for during the 18-month construction period. This concludes part 1 of 6 in this series. Don't miss our next installment when we discuss commissioning plan development, Department of Homeland Security logistics planning, Tucson Airport Authority operational planning, and secured boundary planning.